economist. I just thought that was like watching paint dry. I don't ever really have a conversation about that, not really, apart from my own immediate economy, so how much money have I got to spend.
So there's been a focus group in Manchester and a focus group in London. It's very interesting about these values. What it's about is trying to engage ordinary people more with economics. We've had 4 very intense workshops.
I went in knowing nobody, not really sure what to expect, to be honest. I thought the economy was the bank and money. I was very clear in my email, like, you're probably not going to want me because I know nothing about the economy or politics. Usually when I used to see things pop up like about local elections, general elections, policies, just generally things going on or anything financial, I'd be like, swipe. I thought, by the end of today, I'm going to be gone.
I've never had a good relationship with money in that I've found it to be the thing that causes so much stress, breakdown in relationships.
At the start of the session, we'd all had a chair.
We came back from tea break and 3/4 of the chairs had been removed. We had to decide on each table how we were going to decide who sat down.
I'd allocate them based on need, so it's not necessarily older people don't necessarily need them more, or younger children don't need them more. Than say someone who's got a broken leg or heavily pregnant twins.
A very natural response was where's the greatest need, and that's something that we came up with very quickly.
However we judge, what that need is.
We were asked, with the chairs being removed, how much would we pay to have a chair?
Well, maybe we all just decide to put in one price together.
How long were you?
And I loved it because Manchester basically either said nothing or £1 million.
Does anybody think it goes through the highest bidder or not?
No. Okay. Anybody that had bid over 1p would actually get a seat, and the market price would probably be 1p. Ahmed, Sarah and Paolo, you can all sit down, take a chair. Those that definitely wanted to sit on the floor can all sit down.
Actually, I'm feeling a bit cheated because I assume if you didn't buy a chair, if you didn't get one, you'd be standing up for 8 hours, right? If I felt that there was an option for me to sit on the floor, because I've paid £9.99 too much for my chair. An absolutely amazing idea to engage the wider populace in this subject.
I'm a professor of food policy at...
The aspects that I really enjoyed was listening to the speakers and having interactive sessions with the speakers.
That money is taken away from the poorest in the economy.
We can't challenge experts because that would not be the right thing to do. Or can I actually say, no, I don't agree with that?
I've been in international arenas where people say that if you don't put chemicals on food, you're depriving poor people of food.
So it's poor food for poor people, which equals poor health. Just didn't make sense to me.
It makes it cheaper because it's more what's called more productive, which means it yields more, which means for one field, rather than getting a ton of wheat, you get 5 tons of wheat because you're using more fertilisers, you're getting rid of the pests, and therefore it makes it cheaper to produce.
Some people may have held back somewhat. And is that really because they weren't affected by it? Or is it because that's the British thing to do?
I'll just quickly say that is so not okay, is it really? Because what you're saying is that we're doing this, we're adding pesticides to the food so that poorer people can afford it, but actually you're increasing poor health in poorer people. I don't mean that's
the argument that is given time and time again.
That is so not okay.
I don't know whether the experts had expected the onslaught that they got from some of the participants, with me being one of them.
And if you talk to businesses and government, which I do a lot, they say what consumer cares about is cheap food. That's not what I heard from you at all.
It's about having some greater conversation and more debate, and actually feeling like you can do that. It's your right to do that. I think one of the most profound things was how money works. And I would think at my age that I should know that.
Essentially all money in the world now is conjured up in some way, either by a central bank or by a commercial bank.
97% of money isn't real money. I knew it was a high percentage, but I didn't realise it was so high.
That feels like I've just discovered that the tooth fairy and Father Christmas doesn't actually really exist. I was quite surprised about how it works.
How you can just create money, quantity easy. You just create bonds and sell them and do this and do that.
So that was something that I needed to get my head around.
Transparency.
We were given tasks to do, to create a charter.
9, personal freedom.
Citizens' Economic Charter.
So everything else that we do, any other policies that are made, should be based on these ideals.
We've been given some green stickers, and green indicates those values that are really important to us.
Yeah. It was a refining process that we went through to try and work out how the values were connected and arrive at a solution which was palatable, I suppose, which was manageable. And that took several sessions.
Social justice, yes. We
voted on them, we decided them, and they were group efforts. Some of those sessions were hard.
But if somebody can just condense what we've discussed.
It's hard, like trying to put your feelings on paper.
So I've done something. The resources on our planet are finite. We need long-term planning to ensure resilience of these resources.
As much as I totally agree with what you're saying, I don't think that's broad enough, because it's not just about resources, it needs to be about like the economy and business as a whole.
Don't think that because the other 4 people on your table, 5 people on your table think one thing, you have to agree with them. We're here to share ideas and to hear lots of different views. You won't all agree with each other, and that's what's interesting.
Charter was really a values charter. Economics, to me, I don't immediately think of values. I don't immediately think of ethics.
Values do absolutely have an impact on how decisions are made.
Chris Naylor, who's the CEO of Barking and Dagenham, was somebody who was so refreshingly honest when he came to talk to us and so engaging that he was my number 1 hit for going and having a longer chat with.
You know, they're not my personal values as a local authority chief executive.
So whose values did you say they were?
Politicians.
Individuals.
Yeah, ultimately. I've worked with people from cross-party politics where actually it's been them as the individual that has been pivotal as opposed to the party hat they have on. You know, many politicians are like everybody else, right? They're kind of conflicted, they're complex, they're having to wrestle with the views of local residents to take into consideration, and those aren't unified. It's not as though people themselves speak with a single voice.
When I listen to our MPs, I don't hear that values speak running through, or maybe I hear it but I don't believe it anymore.
We were then asked to go ahead and create a policy.
What the idea is.
Which was, to be honest, actually it was a bit harder than I thought it would have been.
I think that was the purpose of the exercise that we did it, that it's very difficult to balance all the different interests, to work out what the downside is to any policy.
Who underwrites that and how would that be managed?
So many people to consult, so many different views.
I've been asked to play devil's advocate. How much is that going to cost?
The policy my group came up with was, why don't local councils have investment funds so they can invest in young businesses, in entrepreneurs' ideas, as an investor would, as opposed to just giving a loan. Then they can sell their shareholding and reinvest the profit that they make back into the local community.
How would this be poverty busting and or socially just?
It'll encourage people back into work. So for those people who are currently unemployed, you know, we were talking about incentives such as child tax credit. So for those people who aren't currently employed, this might be an incentive to go out, to be self-employed, to manage their hours around their family unit, and to get some support in doing so.
I'm just picking up a few points that might be made a bit later on.
So you could bid for your startup funds. Maybe there would be another level, which would be, I want to expand my business to another level. But actually the money, the return on the investment, would go back into the local borough.
To be totally honest with you, actually, I think if we wanted to create that kind of an investment pot, we could do it now. I like that idea. Councils can borrow money. I still think, though, if I want to kind of improve the economic well-being of my residents, enabling them to start business is one thing. I still think there are too many of our residents who are just too far away from the labour market, full stop. That is the big challenge, how we potentially support them with a mental health issue or a drug and alcohol problem or a confidence issue.
Become soft.
We realised creating policies which were fair and helped the maximum number of people were not straightforward to create. The issues that we face as a society are so big that it feels that we need a sustained policy to change them.
We had the summit where London met Manchester, the EastEnders meet Coronation Street.
Oh, it's London versus Manchester.
So people from London have got to meet the people from Manchester and vice versa. We've got to collect first names and then find out one thing that they liked or found surprising about the process so far. And mine was the video on how money works.
This whole process has made lots of us think, and that's really good.
It almost seemed like there was going to be a bit of competition.
Possibly like some differences between us.
Yeah.
Like we were different groups of people with different values, different ideas, and we weren't sure. I think there was a sense of, is this going to be a competition? Who's going to win?
We had some discussions around Brexit. Through the discussion and debate, I think it was felt that some people were sort of saying, well, actually, I don't think I really knew what I was doing when I made that vote, but I've got a better understanding now. And if I had that understanding then, I probably would have voted differently.
I mean, I thought it was kind of it's kind of essential, really, that this Brexit thing came up, because there is no bigger economic decision happening probably in our lifetimes.
Like the conversations at the time were very much led down certain avenues without covering all of those.
Sure.
It made me think deeper. I wish I'd probably thought more at the time, deeper into the reasons at the time, rather than everything was kind of surface level.
Just like encounter so many people who say, you know, there's all these problems in my area, in my life, in my country, I can't do anything. And actually, you know, loads of other people have gone, I feel like I can't do anything, and tried to fix that. So, you know, there are these routes, there are these levers, and we need to like be sharing that information.
Partway through the process was the general election, and I think people felt a bit different in that they thought, actually, I've got some more information, I've got some more stuff to consider.
Up until this process, I'd never voted. I voted this year, and it was doing this that made me realise I should be taking more personal responsibility.
When we met with the group that was from Manchester, we did a final sort of distillation so that we could agree the values that would go into the final charter.
Actually, our set of values were so similar.
We were all as one, really. We all wanted the same sort of society. We all wanted to live in a society where there was fairness, where there was people had a basic right to education and healthcare, where the most vulnerable citizens were protected. In an ideal world, everyone would sign up to the Citizens' Economic Charter, and we would have those values embedded in all the new policies.
I was really shocked that you started this process as a citizen, because I thought, being sat at the table, I thought you were one of the experts, because you spoke so confidently.
If she's growing that much and she's going and talking to all these people, I know I've spoken to people. Actually, how many other people of the 50 or so of us that I've got together have had a similar journey and going on to share that now?
It isn't something I've even done before, so that's really cool actually that I'm now sounding like an expert.
Being around someone like that makes you just a little bit more confident, because you're going, yeah, she's right, she can do that, I can do that. I feel like just confident enough to go and challenge, which I didn't before, or just to ask questions. If I don't understand something, to just ask questions.
Because I think people don't fully understand it, like I didn't when I first came into the process. They don't understand that, you know, economy, it's for everybody.
Everyday decisions can impact the economy, which then impacts us. I only feel like I'm 3 steps into a journey that's going to be much longer. This has given me a really good foundation of confidence to go on and challenge further.
There are some things that you don't actually even know that you don't know. I think I've been given this opportunity for a reason, and I think it would be a shame to have this opportunity and, you know, not do something with it. I can't even begin to tell people really how excited I am about watching paint dry.